So, good morning, everyone. Welcome. Welcome to the miracle work today. And it's a continuing program, and you're in the middle of it. It's unbelievable. I love it. And today we take a look at the lesson of today, 167, which is there's one life, and that I share with God. And so another part that we're going to take a look at is this, is like the forgotten song. And I welcome, so the forgotten song is from chapter 21 from A Course in Miracles. I read it before, but this is brand new. So it is really nice to sink in to what is being shared with the forgotten song, because it's totally lovely. And yeah, so why are we coming together today? We actually come together to experience a miracle. And what is a miracle? But remembering. When you see the light in one, you remember it for all, from all, for all. It's amazing. So this is really the reason why we come together, to see that in one another, to discover the miracle that is always around, no matter how the situation looks, no matter in what deep trouble you appear to be. It really does not matter. It's like that has nothing to do with it. So the miracle is always your alternative. It's always there. It's always within reach, just by the asking and by you remembering that there's such thing as a miracle. So it comes from outside of this parameter. It comes outside of the space and time. That's not so difficult. Space and time is a very small thing. It's just a bubble. So it's not that big a deal in that sense, but it's essential to you in your, say, growing consciousness. It's really essential to use it. So the miracle is really a thing in the awakening. It's like, if you don't look for an alternative while you're in misery, you're missing out on something. If you don't look for a miracle when you experience pain, lack, disease, disaster, all this stuff. And we go into that today too with the lesson. But if you don't remember that you can ask for a miracle, then you miss out on the opportunity that's lying in front of you, that actually has something to do with reality, and not with your own imagination, and not with your own image making, I could better say. Like it's your image making that's the problem. You have an idea, and boof, there you see it in front of you. You see, say you see misery, and you think it's real. You see lack, limitation, and you think it's real. You see whatever you see. It's like you see war, you see conflict. And when you don't ask for an alternative to see this in a different way, you're actually confirming that it's really there. And the problem is that you start to believe in it, and that it becomes your world. And this starts over and over, even though you just released your mind in the previous miracle, so to speak. You released your mind of the burden of identification. The next moment you pick it up again and start to confirm it, unless, say, you ask for the alternative. So that is continuously your focus point, so to speak, in every situation. So that's very good to remember. It's very good to remember. So there's no situation where it doesn't work. And so, yeah, this goes on and on and on. I can tell you examples. Like yesterday, I went to a certain place. You could say, like, okay, that's a hospital. I was like, no, that's a place where you actually can experience miracles. It's wherever I go, I can experience miracles. So all the things that seem to be occurring, all the things that you seem really see and take serious for just a moment, have an alternative that makes you incredibly happy, and so like overflown with gratitude and with say connectedness, that you don't know what to do with yourself. You just become totally grateful. So this is what I'm saying, is like, no matter where you are, no matter what situation you are, this is always available, always available, always available, never absent, never. So that makes it a real discovery. It's like it's a beautiful discovery. You can say like, okay, here we go. We had it the other day, we talked about it, the unexplored path. Well, this is what that is. It's the unexplored path of the miracle. It's your alternative, always available. Okay, I think I emphasized that pretty much, like to the max right now. So, wonderful. Now we can start. Oh yeah, so we're starting with the forgotten song. This just as a bath, a light bath, to take you on an almost like a guided meditation into your reality, into all the possibilities that are in front of you as your alternative. And it goes beyond everything you see, and you will see, and you will hear. Yeah, that will work. Oh, I didn't open my microphone completely, so I don't know if you heard me. But it's gonna happen now then. Okay. Listen. Listen and try to think if you remember of what we will speak of now. Listen. Perhaps you catch a hint of an ancient state, not quite forgotten, dim perhaps, and yet not altogether unfamiliar, like a song whose name is long forgotten, and the circumstances in which you heard completely unremembered. Not a whole song has stayed with you, but just a little wisp of melody, attached not to a person or a place or anything particular. But you remember from just this little part how lovely was the song, how wonderful the setting where you heard it, and how you loved those who were there and listened with you. The notes are nothing, yet you have kept them with you, not for themselves, but as a soft reminder of what would make you weep if you remembered how dear it was to you. You could remember, yet you are afraid, believing you would lose the world you learned since then. And yet you know that nothing in the world you learned is half as dear as this. Listen and see if you remember an ancient song you knew so long ago and held more dear than any melody you taught yourself to cherish since. Beyond the body, beyond the sun and stars, and past everything you see, and somehow familiar, is an arc of golden light that stretches as you look into a great and shining circle. And all the circle fills with light before your eyes. The edges of the circle disappears, and what is in it is no longer contained at all. The light expands and covers everything, extending to infinity, forever shining, with no break or limit anywhere. Within it, everything is joined in perfect continuity. Nor is it possible to imagine that anything could be outside, for there's nowhere that this light is not. This is the vision of the Son of God, whom you know well. Here is the sight of him who knows his Father. Here is the memory of what you are. A part of this, with all of it within you, and joined to all of it as surely as all is joined to you. Accept the vision that can show you this, and not the body. You know the ancient song and know it well. Nothing will be as dear to you as is this ancient hymn of love. The Son of God sings to his Father still. And now the blind can see. For that same song they sing in honor of their Creator gives praise to them as well. The blindness that they made will not withstand the memory of this song, and they will look upon the vision of the Son of God, remembering who he is they sing of. What is a miracle but this remembering? And who is there in whom this memory lies not? The light in one awakens it in all, and when you see it in each other, you are remembering for every one. So this is lovely. Thank you for listening to that. It's like, wow. This is just the beginning. It's just the beginning. We start with this. It is remembering, yes, oh my God, it's so great to just go open up into that and to let it affect you deeply. That's so beautiful. So the lesson that we do, there's one life and that I share with God, is in fact a continuation of this. It fits really well together. It's very beautiful all together. So with the 167 lesson, I made a couple of, say, images with text, and it's not a whole lesson, but I took, say, some key sentences out of it, and in all it becomes a whole thing for sure. So that's what I share, but just let you know how I, say, prepared this. Let's see if I do it right. So give me 1 second. 67. I want to do it in the right sequence, otherwise it's difficult. I don't want to scramble the lesson. So let's see if I did it right. I can see it here too. Yeah. I start with 1. Here it is. Yeah. Okay, so here it is. So first, this is like a continuation of the lesson of yesterday. There's no death. The Son of God is free. So there's no death, it says here. There's no death because what God created shares his life. There's no death because an opposite to God does not exist. There is no death because the Father and the Son are one. Like, that would be impossible. There's no death because what God created shares his life, and his life is eternal. There's no death because an opposite to God does not exist. There's no death because the Father and the Son are one. So we continue on this idea of death. Okay. It is the idea which, death is the idea, the one idea which underlies all feelings that are not supremely happy. It is the alarm to which you give response of any kind that is not perfect joy. So death is the one idea which underlies all feelings that are not supremely happy. It is the alarm to which you give response of any kind that is not perfect joy. So here we go. It's all sorrow, loss, anxiety, suffering, pain, even a little sigh of weariness, a slight discomfort, or the merest frown, acknowledge death, and thus denies you life. You think that death is of the body, yet it is but an idea, irrelevant to what is seen as physical. A thought is in the mind. It can then be applied as mind directs. So you think that death is of the body, yet it is but an idea, just like you have other ideas. It's irrelevant to what is seen as physical. All right, well, I'll stop here. So the amazing thing then, so you acknowledge death even with a frown of your, like, like you confirm that there's such thing as death if you do so. So now it's not about, say, coming into say, preoccupation with being happy or something. No, it's like you just remember, you just know it, that you're actually confirming death with that. Everything that's not supremely happy is in fact confirming death. Like otherwise you had no reason to do that. So this is pretty wild, you know. It's like in our transformation, you go through things and you have your human response to certain things, but this human response is in fact always confirming death, confirming sorrow, anxiety, all these things. And we said the other day too, it's like to come into a state of in a way of response as true empathy, it would have to change, and it will change, because you start to see that it has nothing to do with your ideas of what death is, your physicality. So it's like here a real fundamental idea is being shared. In fact, it's like with everything as your human response to situations, you confirm the reality of this place, which is not true, you know, because it's just an idea starting here, being projected outside, coming back to you as an occurrence in your daily life or whatever existence, and none of that is so. So why is that so important to know this? And why are we coming back to this almost every moment that we're together? Because it determines where you find yourself. If you acknowledge something here, you appear to be here. So you get all the you get all the symptoms, all the things, all the associations connected to this place, while this is not you, this is not where you are. Only in your, say, your dream, this is where you are. So in fact, there is one life, and we come to that in a moment. There's one life, and that we share with God. That has nothing to do with the images that I see. It has nothing to do with what I think about it. It has nothing to do with recognizing myself as a body-mind walking around in time and space. Like, that has nothing to do with it. And this is, of course, like hard to accept, and that's why we come back to it all the time. Because it's a real, literally like a mind stretch. You know, it's a mind stretch. You have to imagine something, in fact, or you have to allow yourself to be open for something that you don't understand and that you cannot see. So that has always then to do, the acceptance of it has always to do with you trusting it, with you opening up for it, with you seeing that there's an alternative, with you being open to the miracle. That's why the miracle mindedness is so important. That's why we have the miracle work. It's like continuously, oh yeah, wait a minute, there's an alternative. Oh yeah, wait. So if I stay with my frown, how do we have to do this? Then you're already merging yourself into a place that does not exist, and you will not find the solution. So that's in fact the repetition that you're in as a human being. You keep coming back to the same problems. You keep coming back to the same situation because this place is not real. So what can it offer you but that what already is there? Like you keep repeating that. If you believe that a miracle is possible in the situation, you're out of it. The situation dissolves. You know there's an alternative. There is no separation from God. You are one with, there's only one life, you know. That's so great about this lesson. So you see, when I feel anxiety, when I feel afraid, when I have my concerns, when I do this and this and this and this and this, like endless list of all the things that you do as a human being. If you practice that, you get the consequences of that in your experience of yourself, finding yourself in time and space, seeing that you become older, seeing that this happens, that your body can fall apart, that your relationships can fall apart, that you can lose the ones that you love, and on and on and on and on, like the whole spectrum of human drama is being activated in your consciousness. So that's so great with this lesson. It cuts right through it. So I'll repeat those last sentences. Now they start to make more sense when you hear it. And look at this. See here. All sorrow, loss, anxiety, suffering, pain, even a little sigh of weariness, a slight discomfort, or the merest frown, acknowledge death, and thus deny you life. So you acknowledge death as if it is a state that is really there, that has to do with this place. This is a place, like you could say, like the human frame of reference is a place of death. Its function is that. It has death. Like, what do people do? Why are they born, so to speak? In the human idea, they are born to live some time and then to die. So it's all based on an idea of death and an identification with the body. But that whole story doesn't fly. It's not true. It's not you. You think that death is of the body. Well, here you have it. Yet it is but an idea, irrelevant to what is seen as physical. It is seen as physical, but it is not physical, because there's no such thing as physicality in that sense. A thought is in the mind. It can then be applied as mind directs. But its origin is where it must be changed, if change occurs. Ideas leave not their source. So where does the change need to be? Where does the change need to happen? This is an interesting question. So where does the change need to happen? Apparently, I'm thinking all these things. I think that I'm here in time and space in this body identification thing that I call me. And that's all based on ideas. And I made it real. I made it to something real. But actually, it is not me, and it has nothing to do with my reality. So now what am I going to do? How do I get out of it? Where must this change is then the question. Where must it change? So maybe I can allow myself to change my idea about myself, seeing that whatever I thought I was is not what I am. So there must be an alternative. Like there must be a miracle in there somewhere. If I'm just open for that, something can occur. So the change of mind is really like, okay, it started here. This is what I see. This is how it looks. This is my ideas about it and how it will look in the future and where it will end and how that feels and looks and all this. Where can that change? It changes in my thinking about myself, allowing the alternative to come to me, not by making another imagery, like not imagine something else, not applying my human mind capacity for a definition of myself in a new form. No, that's not going to work either. So there's something, like I said, something from outside this bubble, which is not a big deal at all. It's as transparent as can be. It dissolves just by realizing that you're not that. And you call this your world, and you defend it and protect it as much as you can in order not to become eternally happy. That's the craziness of the whole story. So like you believe this bubble is real and it does something with you and you're caught in it and you play your little drama out here. But seeing that as this is not me, this can never be me, there must be an alternative. There's the possibility, there's your miracle. Suddenly you get a glimpse of something beyond this bubble. Well, that is where we are. This is what is happening. This is your, say, the opportunity. Its origin is where it must be changed. The origin of the, say, the world of death, the origin of it is in your mind, not anywhere else. And ideas leave not their source. The emphasis this course has placed on that idea is due to its centrality in our attempts to change your mind about yourself. Oh, wait. So the emphasis this course has placed on that idea is due to its centrality in our attempts to change your mind about yourself. That's why we let this come back almost every meeting that we have. It always comes back. It always comes back because when it actually has changed, it will make perfect sense. Up to that point, you still think that you're going to lose something. It is the reason you can heal. So you can heal because of this, that you can change your mind and you can heal. No matter what it appears to be. Like there's no order of difficulty in miracles. It doesn't matter if it's a cold, if it's a financial lack, or is it a broken relationship, of a broken heart, or a broken who knows what. It all does not matter. The alternative that you are going to discover by allowing this change of mind, not to think other things, but to allow your mind to be changed, it can happen. So you can heal. It is the cause of healing. It is why you cannot die. Its truth established you as one with God. It is the cause of healing. It is why you cannot die. Can you see that? Like you cannot die because your idea of death was connected to a misidentification with you thinking that you're in space and time running around in your bodysuit, so to speak, until you die. So that is not going to happen. That's not the story that is playing you. There's a whole different thing going on. So recognizing the truth about yourself, you see yourself one with God. It cannot not be so. So it's the cause of healing. It's why you cannot die. Its truth established you as one with God. For mind creates all things that are, and cannot give them attributes it lacks, nor change its own eternal mindful state. It cannot make the physical. What seems to die is but the sign of mind asleep. For mind creates all things that are, and cannot give them attributes it lacks, nor change its own eternal mindful state. It's an eternal mindful state. It doesn't say eternal physical state, it's an eternal mindful state. It cannot make the physical. What seems to die is but the sign of mind asleep. You could say like, I'm not gonna close, oh yeah. So you could say like, mind asleep thinks this body is in space and time. Mind asleep thinks it is in space and time, walking around and doing its best it can to become comfortable, to become safe, to keep itself safe, you know, doing all these things that we do to make it certain, make it sure, all based on an idea that there's such thing as a physicality. So here's your quantum healer Jesus. He says, no, there's no such thing as matter. So matter can also never define you. That means if you have physical things going on, pick up your bed and walk. It is not what you think you are. You are not who you think you are. That was just a little mistake. It was a mistake that you made real for yourself. But see, one change of mind, and you see that you're one with God and that this never happened. So also the consequences are, say, gone by you realizing the truth about yourself. So it's a mindful state, eternal mindful state. That's really great. Oh yeah, what seems to die is but the sign of mind asleep. So in your nightmare you can think you die, but that will be all. It's not your reality. The opposite of life can only be another form of life. As such, it can be reconciled with what created it, because it is not opposite in truth. So the opposite of life can only be another form of life. So life shifts from one form into the other, but it has nothing to do with dying or anything. As such, it can be reconciled with what created it. Like, what created it? Mind awake. God only creates mind awake. As such, it can be reconciled with what created it, because it is not opposite in truth. We share one life because we have one source, a source from which perfection comes to us, remaining always in the holy mind which He created perfect. As we were, so are we now, and will forever be. Like, that does not change. We share one life because we have one source, a source from which perfection comes to us, remaining always in the holy mind, which He created perfect. As we were, so are we now, and we forever will be. There's one life, and that I share with God. It makes total sense to look at it this way, and to experience it this way. That's where this actually is about. It's like it's about experiencing this. So we can take some time to let this come to us for a moment. Like, maybe you can repeat after me and say, like, there's one life, and that I share with God. Like, there's one life, and that I share with God. So there are not different forms of life. There's not different things going on here. It's like, no, there's the one thing. That we are from one source. We are one, coming from one source in a perfect configuration, if you want, in a perfect setup. And it has nothing to do with your ideas about who you think you are. And that makes it totally lovely and not anything else. Like it is not scary. It is not something that you should be afraid about or that you're going to lose something. Like none of this. Of course not. No, you will be overwhelmed. You will be supremely happy, as it says. You will be overwhelmed with connectedness, with seeing that there's no exception to it, that you everywhere you go, and not let yourself be fooled by the appearances of form and time and space, seeing that there's one life and that I share with God. It's happening here. Ah, it's so beautiful. It's unbelievably, intensely beautiful. So this is the offering. This is where you heal. This is how you can heal. This is your chance for, say, a miraculous healing. Unlimited healing power, you could say, by you allowing a shift of mind to occur to you, by taking this, what you think you see, letting it go for just a moment, realizing that that is not me. That has nothing to do with me. At this point where you want to experience what is real about you, so that the whole dream of death actually disappears. Like that is not something you can base your identity on anymore. And I love that. I love it. So no matter where you go, you cannot believe it, but everything starts to become totally different than your experience. You know, totally different. So this is the practice, and this is where you say train yourself in to come to with the lessons, for instance, in the Course in Miracles. You use these lessons just to remind yourself continuously. Oh yeah, my thoughts do not mean anything. Oh yeah, I'm seeing only the past. When I use my eyes, I see only the past. And I have no neutral thoughts. My thoughts are literally creating something. They make something of it. If I have an illusion as a thought, like if I have an idea about myself that is not the reality of me, I create a situation that is not real. If I'm afraid, I create a situation that is not real. If I think I miss out on something, I create a situation that is not real. To you, in your experience of yourself, it can be really truly miserable and truly tragic and not truly, but it can be seriously tragic. I don't have to tell you anything about that. You could say, you have sufficient experience. You know the human drama. You absolutely are an expert in it. So now use all your capacity to learn then, to let go of this all and have a different experience of yourself. That is already complete and whole. That is given to you in all situations. Like it doesn't need your effort in order to get there. It doesn't need your empathy as you apply it in human interaction. It doesn't need all of that. No, it is more like you're going to become totally present in every situation that you find yourself, even in this place that you could call this earth or this world. Like you become totally present, but continuously in connection with the alternative, with the miracle. And you just have no idea what you're going to see. Like it's going to fulfill you in such a way that you had not thought possible. Well, it's so great. I love it. And having vivid experiences of it, it's just continuing. It's just continuing. Like, yeah, here's a moment. Oh, yeah, the alternative. Yeah, I'm going to see this through different eyes. Yes, I'm going to apply Christ's eyes to look through me, through my eyes to see this. I can't wait to see that. So my whole day is a discovery of that there's no opposite to that. There's no opposite to life. There's one life, and that I share with God. No more fearful dreams will come now that you rest in God. Take time today to slip away from dreams and into peace. No more fearful dreams will come now that you rest in God. Take time today to slip away from dreams of death into peace. You rest within the peace of God today and call upon your brothers from your rest to draw them to their rest along with you. I love it. So take time today to slip away from dreams into peace. Don't forget. Don't forget. Okay, so I'm going to, well, I'm actually going to say thank you for everything and see you soon. Thank you.